Good afternoon, students. Welcome in online class of physics. We were dealing with ray optics. In the last chapter, we have studied some definitions about spherical mirrors. Now, today, we want to study some sign convention, then some typical rays which can frame images, then one of the relation between focal length and radius of curvature, and maybe mirror formula also. So first of all, sign convention. Sign convention is needed because there are some distances which may be negative, there are some distances which may be positive. So we will have to decide uniquely which distances are positive and which distances are negative. To do so, we take this sign convention, which is nothing but Cartesian coordinate system, which you have studied in class 10th also. First of all, we will assume that the light rays are coming from left side and the mirror is situated on the right side, on which the rays which are coming from left side is falling. Means light is coming from this side and mirror is placed on this side on which the light is incident. So in this sign convention, first of all we will assume that light is incident on the spherical mirror from left side. Means the light propagation direction is completely coinciding with the x-axis of the Cartesian coordinate system. Means light is coming from the negative x-axis and moving towards the positive x-axis. Second one is, whatsoever distances we measure on the horizontal x-axis, that is the principal axis of the mirror also, if the distances are in the direction of the light propagation, then they are taken as positive. If the distances are opposite to the light propagation direction, then the distances are taken as negative. So, number 2, distances are taken positive if measured in the direction of light propagation. these distances are always positive. Third one is opposite to this second one. If the distances are measured opposite to the light propagation direction, then these distances are taken as negative. So, if distances are measured opposite to the light propagation direction, then they are taken negative. So, positive, negative are coinciding with the Cartesian coordinate system. If we consider the principal axis of the mirror is coinciding with the x-axis of the Cartesian coordinate system. Fourth one is that all the distances are measured with reference to the pole. Pole is treated as origin of the Cartesian coordinate system. So, all distances are measured from the pole P of the mirror. Now, there may be distances which may be vertically upwards and vertically downwards to the principal axis. If the distances are measured perpendicular and upwards to the principal axis, then they are taken as positive, and if the distances are perpendicular and measured downwards to the principal axis, then they are taken as negative. So, if attach some y-axis to the pole, and if we measure the distances towards the positive y-axis, then they are taken as positive, and if we measure the distances which are below the x-axis, means in the negative y direction, then they are taken as negative. So, in the diagram we can see all these rules. Say this is our concave mirror. This is its pole, and this is the principal axis. This point is, say, pole P, and this is y-axis. This is positive y-axis, say it y. This is negative y-axis, say it y dash. This is positive x-axis, and this is negative x-axis. This is pole, that is treated as origin. Say this is the focus of the mirror, F point, and say this is the center of curvature of this concave mirror. If light is incident from left to right direction, means light is incident from left side on this mirror, light incident direction. Light is incident from left side to right side, and if we measure any distance, whether it is back to the mirror, whether it is in front of the mirror, but on the principal axis CFP, then it is taken as positive if the distance is measured in the light propagation direction, and it is measured as negative, it is taken as negative if it is measured opposite to the light propagation direction. So these distances are positive. Positive distances, and these distances are negative distances. And all the distances are measured with reference to this pole. Pole is treated as origin of this xy coordinate system. Now if you measure any distance which is normal and upwards, if any distance is perpendicular to the principal axis and it is upwards, then it is taken as positive. So these distances are positive distances, and if any distance which is measured downwards and perpendicular to the principal axis, then that distances are taken as negative. Means if you measure any distance along the positive x-axis direction, then these distances are positive. If you measure any distance which is towards the negative x-axis direction, then that distances are negative. If you measure any distance which is towards the positive y-axis direction, then that distances are taken as positive. And if you measure any distance which is towards the negative y-axis direction, then that distances are taken as negative. So this is the sign convention related with the spherical mirrors. So this will be needed in each and every numerical. Whenever you will perform numericals, then you will have to put the values of u, v and f along with their proper sign, and the sign will come from this sign convention or the Cartesian sign convention system. Taking the next topic, which is the image formation rules. So now, proceeding ahead, image formation rules. There are 4 typical rays which we will have to understand, and if you take at least 2 rays among them, then you can frame the image made from the mirror after reflection. So first ray is, if any ray is incident on the mirror parallel to the principal axis, then after reflection it will pass from the principal focus of the mirror. In the diagram, say this is the concave mirror, this is its principal axis, this is pole, this is focus, and this is center of curvature. Say some ray is incident on the mirror parallel to the principal axis, then after reflection the ray will go through this focus F. Reflected ray will be like this. So any ray which is parallel to the principal axis, after reflection it passes through the principal focus of the mirror. Getting it? Second, you may write also ray parallel to the principal axis will pass principal focus. After reflection. Second one is just opposite to the first one. If any ray is going through the principal focus, then after reflection from the spherical mirror, it will go parallel to the principal axis. Say this is the concave mirror, this is its principal axis, this is pole, this is focus, this is center of curvature, and if some ray is incident on the mirror passing through the principal focus F, then it will be parallel to the principal axis after reflection from the mirror. Ray passing from F will reflect parallel to the principal axis. This is the second rule of image formation. Third one is, if some ray is passing through the center of curvature, then it will reflect back in the same direction. It will just revert its direction and will again reflect back through the center of curvature. In the ray diagram, you can see this. Say this is our concave mirror, and this is the pole, this is focus, this is center of curvature, and if some ray is incident like this, passing through the center of curvature point, then it will just return back and will pass again through the center of curvature. Why so? If you touch any point of the surface of the spherical mirror with center of curvature of the mirror, then this line will be a radial line, because whenever you meet surface of a sphere with its center, then you will be always with the radial direction. And since this incidence direction is normal on the mirror, therefore its incidence angle is 0 degree and the reflection angle will also be 0 degree. Therefore, the reflected ray will also pass through the center of curvature. So, this is the third main ray. If incident ray is passing through C, the center of curvature, then it will reflect back through C. So, this is the third rule for image formation. Fourth rule says that if any ray is incident directly on the pole of the mirror at some angle, then it will be reflected back at the same angle following the laws of reflection. So, say this is our concave mirror and this is the principal axis, pole is this is focus, this is center of curvature, some ray is incident directly on the pole, this is the incident ray, say this angle is I. Why incidence angle? Because any line which is through C and P is principal axis, and principal axis is always radial direction because it is meeting center of curvature and pole, surface of the mirror. So, this is the radial direction, means normal direction, this is the incident beam. So, this angle will be the incidence angle, and following the laws of reflection, reflected ray will make also angle I with this principal axis. So, this angle will be R, reflection angle, and I will be equal to R. This is the fourth main ray which can be used in image formation. Getting it? So, by taking any two rays among these four rays, we can frame the image, its location, its size, whether it is erect or inverted, etc., etc. So we'll use this image formation rules in the next diagrams where we'll prove the mirror formula. So now for both of the boards, main questions are coming. First question is relate focal length and radius of curvature. So first of all, we are going to take the question, develop relation between focal length and radius of curvature of spherical mirror. So the main long answer type question now. Relation between F and R. F is focal length of the mirror and R is the radius of curvature of the mirror. So, first of all, we are going to prove this relation by taking a concave mirror. Then again, we will prove the same relation for a convex mirror. So, first, we will need a ray diagram. Taking the concave mirror, so this is our concave mirror. This is its principal axis. This is the pole. Say this is the focus. And this is the center of curvature. Now take some parallel beam. We know that after reflection it will pass through the focus of the mirror. So this is passing through the focus of the mirror, F. Say this point is A, this point is B, and this point is focus point F. Say this point is C, this point is C, center of curvature point C. If you meet center of curvature and B point, then we'll get the radial direction. Normal on the mirror means this line CB is normal on the mirror at point B. So this is normal, this is incident ray, so this angle is incidence angle I. Let it be theta. Now this is the reflected ray, and the angle in between normal and reflected ray is called reflection angle, and we know from the laws of reflection that if this angle is theta, then this angle will also be theta because I equal to R. Now take this angle, BCF. Since these two lines are parallel, AB is incident ray which is parallel to the principal axis CP, and this BC is intersecting line, then the alternate angle will be the same. So if this angle is theta, then this angle will also be theta, being the alternate angle of this incidence angle. So if this angle is theta, then this angle is also theta. This angle is theta due to the reflection laws, since I angle is equal to R angle. So this will be the ray diagram which will be needed here, and the distances involved are, first one is this distance focal length, this length from F to P. This length is called the focal length of the mirror, and the second length involved is this distance from C to pole point P. So this distance is called the radius of curvature of this mirror R. Radius of curvature of this mirror R. So this is the whole diagram. Simply one ray is taken which is parallel to the principal axis. After reflection it will pass through the principal focus F of the mirror. If we meet center of curvature and the point of incidence, means the surface of the mirror, then we will get the normal direction. So CB is the normal direction. Angle between incident ray and normal is incidence angle, let it be theta, and angle between reflected ray and normal is reflection angle. This will also be theta because angle I is equal to angle R due to the reflection loss. And if this angle is theta, then this angle is also theta because these two angles are alternate angles. The length involved are the focal length which is in between F point and P point, and the length involved, radius of curvature, is in between C point and P point. Let us start the proof. First of all, take the reflection loss, angle I is equal to angle R, which means here in the ray diagram, this angle I is angle ABC. ABC is equal to angle R. Angle R is what? This is CBF. CBF. Put it number 1. This is due to reflection loss. Now take the alternate angle. Angle ABC. ABC is equal to angle, which angle? BCF. BCF. Put it number 2. Why equal? Because alternate angles. Alternate angles. Now mix up equation 1 with equation 2. If you mix these two equations, then you can say that left hand sides are equal, therefore right hand sides must be equal. Means angle CBF is equal to angle BCF. From equations 1 and 2, we get, what we get? Angle CBF is equal to angle BCF. and these two angles are shown in the diagram as theta. This is theta, this is theta. CBF theta, and another angle is BCF. BCF, this is theta, and CBF, this is also theta. So we can say that from this third equation that this triangle CFB, this triangle is isosceles. Why isosceles? Because these two angles are equal, therefore their sides opposites are also equal. So this triangle CFB is isosceles, means we can say that CF is equal to FB, means therefore CF is equal to FB. Put it number 4. Since triangle CFB is isosceles. This is the reason. Since these two angles are equal, therefore these sides CF is equal to FB. Now, one particular thing always keep in mind that we are studying only paraxial rays. Paraxial rays are the rays which are nearby the pole. Even if we have exaggerated this ray diagram, expanded very largely this diagram, but this B point is very near to this P point. Or equivalently, you may say that the aperture of the mirror is very small. If this point B is nearby the P point, then you can say that this FB distance is FP distance. So, you can say that CF equal to FP because FB is FP. So, you can say that CF is equal to FP. Number 5. Since aperture is small, aperture is small means what? Aperture is small means FB is nearly equal to FP. And since FB is equal to CF, therefore CF is equal to FP. And by looking on this fifth equation, we can say that F is the midpoint of CP. Since this length CF is equal to FP, means F point is the midpoint of CP. And what is the value of CP? CP's value is R. And what is the value of this PF? This value is F. So we may say that the point F is, I am writing here, therefore point F is the midpoint of CP. This implies what? This implies PC is equal to twice of PF. PC, this distance, since F is the midpoint of this distance CP, therefore PF distance is twice. If we take twice of PF distance, then we will get CP distance. Put the values with the signs. This is since we are going against the incident ray direction, therefore this is minus R is equal to twice of minus F, minus cancels out, and proof of this relation is R is equal to 2F. So this is the relation between radius of curvature and focal length of any spherical mirror. You can write this relation as F equal to R by 2 also. This implies F is equal to R by 2. Equivalent to this sixth equation is F equal to R by 2. So this is the proof if we take this concave mirror, and we are going to take the convex mirror proof in the next lecture. So I am concluding this lecture. We have studied the sign convention rules, Cartesian coordinate system related with the spherical mirrors. Then we have studied 4 main rays which can be used to make the image position. Then we have established one relation between focal length and radius of curvature by using the concave mirror. In the next lecture, in the third lecture, we will take the same relation, but we will take convex mirror. We will prove this relation R equal to twice F, but with the use of convex mirror. So see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.